Peace. Salute. Salute, good people. Blessings to the good family. Infinite blessings to the people. Excuse my few moments of delay. Had to tend to, excuse me one second. All right, I'm back. Had to tend to something really quickly. Now that that's taken care of, I am here, good family. Salute to the good people. I hope everybody is well. It's a very quiet, rainy Sunday here where I'm at. It's kind of weird that it's so dark so early. I'm not used to it. You know what I'm saying? Barely being 6 o'clock and it's already looking like it's damn, 10 o'clock and over. I'm kind of adjusting to this fall, environment and ambience. But other than that, everything is well on my end. Salute to the good family. I hope everybody is doing good. Let me check in and see who we have in the building so far. Of course, as we gear up to talk some good old boxing, let's see who's in the building. Salute to the king, D. Scott in the building. I see you. Infinite blessings. Can you guys hear me okay? Does everything sound good? Let me know if you guys can hear me, if everything is audible. Of course, I want to make sure that you guys can hear me properly. Salute to the king. D. Scott, infinite blessings to you. Thank you so much for joining. I see you in the building. Salute to B. Move, also in the building. He says, ain't nothing sweet over here. We sugar free all the time. Okay, B. Move, all the time. And nothing less than that. You understand me? Infinite blessings to you, King. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you in the building. Oh my goodness, here he goes. My twin, the king, Daryl Anderson in the building. He says, salute to the beautiful queen, aka my twin Sugar Free. And salute to the rest of the kings and the queens in the chat. Infinite blessings to my twin. You already know what time it is, King. It's lovely to see you. And you already also know that them nines better be all the way up in the building. Okay. Infinite love to the King, Daryl, for the wonderful energy that I love to see every week. Thank you so much for standing 10 toes, King, as usual. Blessings to the King, Eric, in the building. He says, SugarFreeMars, salute, beautiful queen, with his roses, the way I love to see. Thank you so much, King Eric. Blessings to you. Infinite love. I hope everything is well. Hope you had a good weekend. Oh my goodness, my number one comrade in the building, Big Steppin' as usual. Salute to you, Coach Hudson. Always lovely to see you. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. If you guys celebrated, I hope you enjoyed. Even if you just kind of laid back like me and kind of, was to yourself a little bit, kind of kept it quiet and cool and no big deal. I hope that you guys enjoyed yourselves. Nonetheless, salute to the king, my comrade, Coach Hudson. He says, salute to the queen of boxing media, my number one comrade, and peace to the chat on vacation, but still listening to the truth tellers. Step on falsehood's neck. Absolutely, King. Blessings to you. I hope you're having a lovely vacation. All right. Infinite blessings to you as always. Salute to Chris Watches Boxing. Big salute to you. I like that name, Chris Watches Boxing. Infinite blessings to you. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you in the building. Hold up. We got the King Stephen X in the building. Blessings to my brother, the King Stephen X. Salute to you. He says, peace and salutations, queen, love and light. Same thing to you, twofold, King. Always wonderful to see you and have you in the building. Salute to the King Mo in the building with his salutes. Blessings to you, King. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys very, very much. I always get excited to see the family roll through. Oh my goodness, we got some loving in the super chat early today from the King Nata. Blessing the super chat. He says, salute SugarFreeMars and salute to the mighty LDBC. That's the family. That's the good family. Definitely blessings to the LDBC and infinite blessings to you, King Nata, for always showing that wonderful support and, of course, for supporting the channel with your super chat. I appreciate you very, very much. Oh my goodness, Here she goes, my queen mama love in the building. Chiquila Fields. She says, salute warrior queen in chat. And she threw a 9 up in there for me. Thank you so much, boo. I appreciate you. Lovely to see you. Sending you big, 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 big hugs as I always do. I hope you are well. I hope you enjoyed your holiday. Salute to my good brother, Mark Wunderlich in the building. He says, touch that like button. Hashtag LDBZ, hashtag Bomb Squad, hashtag Team Petty. Okay, I love Mark's consistency, baby. All right. Infinite blessings to you, Mark. I hope you and your family are well. Salute to the king, NBAD Nice in the building. He says, salute, beautiful queen. Thank you so much, King, for joining. I appreciate you. Hold up. Speaking of big step of big king energy, we got the King Judah in the building. All right. This is one brother whose commentary I'm always down to listen to. Wonderful insight. He's a very clear-minded, concise thinker. And it's always great to chop it up with him whenever I get to share a panel with him, let's say on Champside's channel or, you know what I'm saying, something like that. Wonderful insight. Salute to the King Judah. I hope all is well with you. Infinite blessings. I appreciate you for coming through. Oh, my goodness. Hold up. You guys know how I get when I see this brother in the building. My beautiful king, BFTB, is in his house. Salute to my beautiful king, BF. He says, salute, goddess. Infinite blessings to you. You already know what time it is, king. Very, very happy to see you as always. Thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you. Blessings to the King Prize in the building with his peace sign up in the air. Yes, brothers and sisters. I love to see my people coming through. Speaking of which, my beautiful sis, Cammy Cam, is in the building. She says, my beautiful sis, sending love and light always with some purple hearts. And I appreciate you so much, Queen. Thank you so much for that beautiful sisterhood that you always share with me and bless me with. Always wonderful to see you. Let me scroll through, see who else we got here. We have GLEX in the building. He says, greetings. Greetings to you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys for making the time to come through. Because I have some stuff that I wanted to cook with you guys. So it's wonderful to see the family join in. Salute to Dante. He says, salute my sister. Infinite blessings and big salute to you. We got the King D in his house. He says, salute, Sugar Free. You already know what it's hitting for, King. I'm happy to see you as well. Salute to the King Shogun. Yes, we got some good family entering the building, you guys. Blessings to you. I appreciate you guys very, very much for joining. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, let's see what I wanted to cook on. Let's see what we got here, you guys. Because today's discussion is very interesting to me, and I'm sure that you guys would concur with that. Because, of course, we have all been observing quite a bit, right? Just in general, right? Just on a general broad scale. Just the energy, the temperature of the boxing world as it pertains specifically to young King Devin. And of course, it's become, even more interesting, the dynamics of this perspective or the disposition that is held, generally speaking, about Devin. Of course, it's gotten more interesting to me upon, seeing what is taking place in the aftermath of his victory against Brian Norman last weekend, right? Because it has only been a week. We're only a week removed from his victory against Norman. And, so many interesting things have been just, coming to surface, right? Interesting things, you guys. And I'm just sitting back like, okay, well, I'm not surprised, but it's very, very interesting to me how quickly, people really, really don't waste any time getting the ball rolling to reset and replant their feet in the agenda that must at all costs be maintained as far as it is concerning the young king. And that's really what I wanted to tap into today. Is this an agenda, the need for its existence, the need for its existence, and what that entails, right? The blood that have to feed this working ongoing agenda. What is it serving? Okay, and what is it ultimately saying um about this sport, right? So I had some questions that I wanted to unpack with the good family today. And it's a lot of us, for many of us here, these questions are ones that we have been pondering for quite some time, because of course to us none of this stuff is new, right? We are just seeing a new expression or a new case of it, but the symptoms are pretty much all the same, right? Even though they are being expressed at different points and at different times, but nonetheless the common thread and the common denominator, of course, um, is unyieldingly predicated upon Devon's progress within the sport, right? Because of course that is what that agenda is looking to minimize or diminish or thwart to whatever capacity or another. So that's kind of the target that I had in mind today, right? And it brought me the question upon looking at, yes, King Stephen, absolutely. hmm They hate what um, they hate what they want, but oh, I guess I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, right? They can't control, a thing, so they hate what they can't pretty much get under control, under manipulation, right? And I totally agree with that statement. Yes, twin, who is also echoing the same sentiments as the King Stephen. They fear Devon. People ultimately hate what they fear. Absolutely. Yes, King Stephen. They hate what they want to be, 1000%. They hate what they want to be, and that they don't find themselves able to be. And as Twin stated, they hate what ultimately they fear and cannot control. Right? Interesting stuff, you guys. And I think it's a very poignant, layered, multifaceted discussion for us to have, because of course, even though it kind of um, is being pointed and aimed and directed at Devon, even though Devon Haney is, um, I would say, the conduit, right? It of course is speaking to something much larger than Devon, right? It's not just a singular aspect or disposition that we can apply this to in the case of Devon Haney, but they are speaking to the Devon Haneys of past, the Devon Haneys of present, and the Devon Haneys of, what is to come of elite Black warriorship in boxing. What they are speaking to in totality is Black warriorship and the threat that that poses. And not only Black warriorship being expressed on an elite level, okay, but the independence of Black warriorship from the main body politic, and how that in and of itself is a threat. The threat of independence, sovereignty within one's Black elite warriorship being expressed. So that's pretty much the conversation. And it brought me to question, what is the boxing world really afraid of, ladies and gentlemen, when they are looking at Devon Haney? Many of us can think of myriad, ways to respond to this question, right? Because it is multi-layered and multi-dimensional, right? What is there to be afraid of? And I guess on the most basic level, I would say, or that I would also posit, it's like, well, how can you be afraid of this expression? Because what are you really afraid of in looking at Devon Haney? What is there to be afraid of such that you would opt and seek to intentionally diminish this man's progress? What is it in you the agents of this propaganda, the agents of this chaos, really? What is it in you and in that body politic that wants to thwart the progression of what Devin Haney really represents, which is the sport as a whole, so that you would rather sabotage and sacrifice the very representation of the sport that we love? You would rather sabotage that instead of seeing this young man shine? Is the whole sport then, liable to go asunder just because you want to stifle and stop the progress of this, I don't know, personification of what it is that you fear? Which is what? What are you really fearing? An amazing athlete rising to the pinnacle of the sport? Is that what you fear? What the fuck is, we got to look at these things, you guys. We got to make it as plain as possible. What are they really afraid of in these types of attempts and gestures being expressed towards Devin? So you don't want the young king rising to any particular pinnacle? Is that what it is? You don't want him to be a representation of a sport replete with a rich, dynamic history full of valiance, honor, masculinity, hard work, determination, perseverance, vehement passion to fulfill oneself, to pursue and achieve one's dream? Is that what you're afraid of? You don't want that to be represented? Like, what is the fear really, really about, you guys? I can't help but question that, because I don't understand what these attempts are looking to quell. I don't get that. Isn't the dream one that every real warrior has who wants to make it on this level and reach the mountaintop on this particular level? Doesn't every warrior share that dream? What is it that you are trying to stifle? And how does Devin Haney differ from every other elite warrior? Right? For example, ladies and gentlemen, why was no one threatened at the warriorship being expressed by Canelo Alvarez during his climb to the mountaintop for the duration of his career? Right? Was anybody threatened by Canelo's rise to prominence? Why weren't there any alarms set off while he was making his pursuit towards authority and stature in this sport? Does anybody, hear any alarms going off when Canelo Alvarez was carving himself to be in the elite fighter that he is? I heard no qualms about Canelo making himself. Have you? Why isn't it seen as a hazardous thing? Why is it not a perilous undertaking, let's say, for Usyk to embark on his conquest for dominance within the sport of boxing at the heavyweight division? Does anybody have any qualms about seeing Usyk rise himself into prominence from cruiserweight into the heavyweight division, and then ultimately, of course, as we know, becoming undisputed king? Did anybody stand in the way or try to impede upon his conquest for dominance in the sport of boxing? I heard no qualms. But he is a warrior, just like Canelo, right? Why were there no attempts to thwart his progression? What are we here for as supporters, brothers and sisters? What are we here for as patrons of this sport, if it is not to see the best of men make themselves, the best of men rise and carry on a long tradition of valor and championship? If we're not here for that, what the fuck are we here for, beautiful people? Whether you are a spectator, whether you are a casual, whether you are an enthusiast, whether you are a commentator, whether you are whatever you are, isn't that what everybody should be here for? Isn't that what everybody benefits from? I mean, everything stems from that, ladies and gentlemen. For all of the business people, all of their money gets made, and generated around that level of valor. All of our fanship is predicated upon seeing the best be made, fighting the best. So it's not like nobody isn't eating off of this valiance being displayed. Everybody is fed off of the valiance and championship heart, the warrior heart. So why are people out here acting like, we can just so easily sweep that to the side, like the sport should, would rather or be better off void of that valor and championship or the pursuit of it? It's very curious to me, you guys. And it's something that I am just beside myself about. The reality is, brothers and sisters, is that we are in yet another era, right? Another era. And it's an era that is slowly transitioning and unfolding into something else. And that is, the pattern of boxing, right? One era transitions into another, but one also washes into and blends into the next era, right? And so we are finding ourselves amid such a transition that is happening and occurring, right? Where the people who were once, carrying the torch will soon be looking to turn around behind them and pass it on to the next coming up. So we are in this slow transition right now. And at the helm, at least to my understanding and from my view, at the helm of this transition, the person who stands to take this dream on, if you will, the person at the helm of this new dream, this new era, right? I would say the dream all the way back from the Black Murderers Row, right? The dream stemming all the way back then of men who at that time were looking to carve themselves just as these young warriors are looking to do. Men who at a time in history were subjected to crazy, amounts of paucity, scarcity, and opportunity. They had to deal with that at that time. They had to deal with a paucity of recognition because Black fighters were not allowed, let's say, to be given things like title shots at a particular time, ladies and gentlemen. They were denied that at a particular time. So the Black Murderers Row had to fight themselves continually and hope and pray, literally, for an opportunity to become a champion. This is the dream that the brothers today are carrying on, whether they know it or not. They are carrying that dream into the now. Okay? And I wonder about how many of the young brothers are willing to take on that responsibility, not only to the past, but their obligation to the past is to be fully present. That is their obligation. That's how you carry on the past. Knowing where you came from and living out who you are in full representation of your greatness. Right? So that this dream, all the way back then from the, let's say, the Black Murderers Row time, and we have to gauge with the reality of all of the limitations that they faced in attaining something like championship, something that is so commonplace now, was actually denied to our brothers once upon a time. Could not get any recognition. And the obstructions were virulent, right? Men who could literally only dream about having a title shot and becoming championships, having championship fights. Today, at the helm of that dream is a gallant young man, in my view. A gallant young man who is taking the torch of the past and he is daring to charge forward. And in my view, that person is definitely, unquestionably, and undoubtedly Devin Haney. And I think that the moniker of the dream is quite fitting when we put it into this context, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite fitting when we understand the history of the sport and the legion of Black warriors whose dedication to making themselves has left an indelible mark on the sport and, of course, on us boxing fans. These men, these beautiful warriors of the past, are the reason why we love the sport so much. And Devin Haney and people on that type of time stand to keep us loving this sport. That's the type of warriorship that I want to see. That's the type of warriorship that I find to be upright. You know what I mean? So if such is the case, why is the boxing world seemingly so afraid of this dream? What is it about this dream, or the dream, Devin Haney, that has, people in a frenzy, up in arms? What is it about this dream that people fear being materialized and actualized? They don't want the dream to be actualized. They have no problem with him skating on the periphery, perhaps, being a good little boy and taking orders, right? Maybe perhaps, following along a line of sheep. If he assumed a sheep mentality, maybe they would get along better with him. But because he is not doing that, because there are things being done by his own accord and on his own terms, this is what they fear being actualized. They want the dream to remain asleep. They do not want it actualized. They don't want the dream realized. That's what I posit today, brothers and sisters. And you know what? You can't help but notice, as a cognizant boxing fan, right? Anybody who is paying attention, right? You can't help but notice how expressions of this, hesitation that we see towards recognizing Devin as being something that is absolutely rampant in the sport, right? And it's something that we do not see exchanged with any current fighter, right? There is something very particular and unique to Devin Haney's situation that we do not see expressed anywhere else, and as it pertains to any other fighter. And I think that this is what begs our analysis. Okay? Now we can see expressions of this unique reticence or hesitation, an uneasiness about Devin. We can see this expressed pretty much everywhere, as we have been for the past several years. Okay? And I'm seeing a lot of convolution going about, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of mystification being generated throughout the boxing world right now, coming off, the back of this stunning victory that he had against Norman Jr. only a week ago. Okay, so that we are seeing new forms, people scurrying around, to prop up the agenda that was absolutely demolished by Devin Haney. So now they have to find new ways to prop this up. It was demolished. It was obliterated, right? So I'm just seeing people just scurrying from left to right all over the goddamn place, trying to make sense of this. It's like people trying to, reckon with the aftermath of a hurricane. Devin just came in and absolutely shredded and decimated all of the propped up agendas that were set in place previously. And now they are scurrying to rebuild, right? It seems that the world turned over on its axis, brothers and sisters, when Devin Haney, unabashedly defied all of those, objections, all of those goddamn, testimonies, protests, criticisms, right? All this that was against him, that were insisting and proclaiming that somehow this young king was damaged goods before going into that fight. Somehow he was a compromised fighter. He was unfit. He was inept as an athlete, according to these people. Can you believe this? I mean, just deal with this, beautiful people. Just think about all the things that we had to endure as cognizant boxing fans, whether you are a fan, to the umph degree or not of the young king, but just as a conscious person looking in at this, it's dumbfounding. It's dumbfounding thinking back on all the things that we had to witness in the build up to that particular fight, right? He's unfit, inept as an athlete as a whole. This is what was created and being generated and circulated for the past 2 years, right? And I guess it posed too much of the difficulty after the fight with Brian Norman in accepting this man's emphatic victory that he had. That was too much of the difficulty for many people in accepting that not only were these spun tales that they put out false, which they always knew it was, right? They knew that shit was capped. They just put the fucking falsities out there to detract, because that's what detractors do, right? But not only did they have to reckon with their lies, but that the young King Devin is very much on his way to once again reigning supreme in yet another division. This is also what they had to reckon with upon Devin's victory, right? Like, damn, this nigga's at it again. I was hoping, that this would be a feat for him, that this would be a hurdle he could not overcome, that perhaps the man who has been at welterweight was going to be the one to stop him. Hoping and wishing on the star. This is what many people were doing, as we know, right? So that after his emphatic victory over Norman Jr., the boxing world, let's say a good crispy, as my beautiful King BF would say, a good crispy 2 days of acknowledgement, right? They gave a good crispy strong 2 days of acknowledgement of Devin, right? Oh yeah, Devin had a good performance. Yeah, he shined. You saw headlines on Ring Magazine. Yeah, Devin, levels. There are levels. Look at Devin levels. But you heard that? I'm sure you guys saw that video and the headlines. Oh, Devin shines against Brian Norman. Levels in the Brian Norman fight, right? About a good crispy 2 days of acknowledgement that they gave to young King. By the third day, brothers and sisters, it was evident that it pained them. It pained these people far too much for them to continue down that path of acknowledgement. I mean, apparently that was the case. They simply could not go on publicly avowing these types of sentiments of grace and recognition any further. They just couldn't do it anymore. By that third day, they was like, okay, this shit burns. My back itch, my eyes itch, my toe. I can't take this. I'm hurt. They was in too much pain to continue giving that acknowledgement. So they desperately did what? They desperately motherfucking began, thinking up all types of new narratives, new spins on their tales. They started thinking up, how to place new impediments on the path of Devin Haney, right? As far as the narratives being spun, anything to trip up and thwart any semblance, any measure of reprieve, of respect, or progression for Devin. They had to quickly think of something to throw in the path to thwart that, to stop that. All right? Only took a few days. I mean, the obsession is really wild when you guys think about it. How is it so that at all costs, these particular people and detractors in the boxing world must find a way to maintain and sustain their objective of diminishing and usurping any movement toward or expression of supremacy by the young King Devin? That's an imperative for them, brothers and sisters. That is an imperative for these detractors, that they must in some way at all costs, however small or large, detract from his progress or any potential for his progress in the future, so that the things not made yet are even finding roadblocks being thrown at them. Even the things that are being conceptualized, they are looking for ways to thwart that before it even begins. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that obsessive? It's wild to me, y'all. These agents are fully operational and fully functional in that agenda and the maintenance of that agenda at all times. We gotta be honest about that. Now, over the past week, brothers and sisters, I'm sure many of you have seen Sean the Jaw, as I call him, Sean the Jaw Porter, right? Run in an absolute frenzy as fast as he could in front of a camera. Also, that he could start capping his buck teeth off, right? About how he supposedly, I'm sure you guys saw it. Oh, I supposedly, I didn't know of no hit list. This is an example of the detractors. Here is one in Sean Porter. Oh, I didn't know of a hit list is what he is trying to say now. I didn't know Devin put out a hit list. Oh, I was told that there was a hit list. Did you guys see that interview? I posted a clip, a response to that on my community page, and I'm sure some of you must have seen the video. Supposedly, he did not know that there was a hit list with Devin, right? And then he snidely and superciliously states, oh, that because Brian Norman Jr. wasn't first on this hit list that he allegedly didn't know about, because Brian Norman was not number one on that list, that this somehow justifies the statement that he made over the summer, also on his podcast, where he posited that Devin didn't want to fight Norman to begin with. So he is trying to redact his statement a little bit, if you will, because he got a lot of backlash from that, of course, upon Devin winning that fight. People, he's trying to save face now and say, oh, I didn't know there was a hit list. Well, even if there was, it's not like Norman was number one on that hit list. Do you hear this nonsense? Norman wasn't number one on the hit list, so that kind of justifies what I had said earlier over the summer, where I said that Devin didn't want to fight with Norman. Do you hear this nonsense? What the fuck is wrong with that bucktooth bandit? I really need to know. Actually, we're going to divulge into a bit of what all of this may be stemming from in a bit. But, this was his way of justifying, like I said, his statements over the summer, where he was superimposing this crazy notion, that Devin wanted no parts of Norman to begin with, despite the fact that he was top 5 on the hit list. Make the fuck sense, y'all. So Devin put you on a hit list. He got a hit out for your head, a bounty on your head, but he don't want no problems with you? The fuck? Listen, this is not Purple Pain Davis over here, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to waste time calling names that we supposedly want only to evade and duck at all costs. This ain't Purple Pain Davis. This is Debo. Yeah, the big one. This is Debo we talk about. He call you out. He put you on a hit list. He's gunning for you, period. You food, ASAP. And I'm trying to get you. This Debo. This is not Purple Pain Red Light Special Davis, ladies and gentlemen. We're not here to waste time. This different over here. What the fuck is Bucktooth Porter talking about? Norman was top 5 on that hit list, ladies and gentlemen, as we know. Who gives a fuck if he wasn't number one? First of all, let's go over that top 5 really quickly if we can. Teofimo Lopez is number 1 on that list. Shakur Stevenson, number 2. Red Light Special Davis, number 3. Boots, number 4. And Norman, number 5. Those were his top 5 victims. Those are the name of the top 5 victims, his prey. Okay? Straight up heavy hitters. The entire boxing world was stirred due to that hit list being dropped back in, I want to say, late spring. Not too long after the Ramirez fight. Okay? He dropped that. I want to say somewhere around the end of May, maybe about 2 weeks removed from that Ramirez fight, he dropped that hit list. Sean Porter knows goddamn good and well about the existence of that damn hit list. He's fucking capping right through those big ass motherfucking chompers of teeth that he has. Stop the goddamn cap. Niggas sitting there capping through those buck teeth like nobody's goddamn business. All 4 names, brothers and sisters, that were listed above Norman's on that hit list, ducked. All 4 names above Norman's ducked the smoke with Debo. That's why he didn't get to them. Because if he would have gotten his number 1, he would have been absolutely satisfied. He wanted Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez ducked something like $11 million, supposedly. Ran for fucking cover and ducked his highest motherfucking, offer at that particular time. Then you got Shakur Stevenson, who was hiding behind Connor Wynn, as Bill Haney calls him, right? Instead of acknowledging that Devin Haney was calling him out to fight at 47, this motherfucker first off said that he was too small. Oh, I'm really a 135 pounder now. You hear? I'm too small. Look at this little waist. Oh, child, I could barely fit. That's Shakur Stevenson. Only to turn around when Devin Haney was putting that pressure on him, he put his name on a goddamn hit list, only for Core to turn around and talk about, oh, I want the big money fight with Conor Ben at 54. I'd go to 54 for Conor Ben. I'd go for 54 to get Big Daddy. That's Shakur Stevenson ducking when that pressure was applied by the young king, acting like he didn't hear or see that his name was on that goddamn hit list. Number 2. Then we got fucking Red Light Special Davis, who would rather fight a fucking heavyweight than fight the young king. Right? And lastly, we got Boots Ennis, who ultimately hauled ass out of 54 upon Devin's entrance into the welterweight division, because he was citing that allegedly he was only 32.33% of his motherfucking, power capacity and had to move up. Right? So he hauled ass and left the goddamn division. Who was next up, brothers and sisters? Yes, Brian Norman Jr. So that Devin Haney went meticulously with a comb down the names on his hit list. He literally went one by fucking one. And each of the 4 men prior to Norman evaded and ducked the smoke. They wanted no parts. They wanted no problems with Devin. Now we get to number 5 on that list, B. Norman. And he said, what's up? What's popping? And guess what? The young Norman is the only one so far who had the balls enough to take the call. Salute to that young man for that, because we wind up getting a wonderful night of boxing because he was brave enough to answer that call. Right? Let's not play fucking dumb, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the fuck the Bucktooth Bandit is out here talking about. Oh, I didn't know of no hit. You knew good and goddamn well of that hit list, and you knew what the parameters around that entailed. You knew what those circumstances were. That T.O. had evaded him. That Shakur started looking over his head to a whole nother division above Devin. How the fuck you that scared? You got one nigga ready to fight a motherfucking whole person, a whole division up from Devin, rather than fight Devin, and the other motherfucker, sassy ass Red Light Special Davis, is willing to go insofar as to fight a fucking heavyweight than to fight the young king. I mean, do you see this nonsense? This is what was encircling. Okay? Let's not play dumb, but unfortunately, Bucktooth Porter, that's what he does best, apparently. Right? It's quite unfortunate that we have so-called boxing analysts, out here playing this nonsensical game, right? Because these so-called boxing analysts, these half-witted journalists, these ill-intended reportings that get put out adamantly set in place to distort and convolute and interpose all manners of deceit possible, as long as it is going to uphold the agenda that sets about to keep Devin and DHP as far away from ascension as possible by any means. This is what is at play, you guys. They go to this extent. So that's an example with the Bucktooth Bandit, Sean Porter. Let's also get to this. I'm not sure if you guys saw the interview that Bill did with Shaggy. I call the motherfucker Shaggy, aka Sean Zattel, and Radio Raccoon recently. Did you guys get to see that interview? that they dropped with Bill over the week, right? I'm not sure if you guys saw that, but apparently in this interview, they had expressed in a particular portion, basically the foundations that began the beef, I guess you would want to call it. It's not even really a beef. Devin he don't seem to have no issue with Sean Porter outside of the shit that he was talking, right? And there's only an issue now, that's being expressed because of Sean Porter's vitriol for Devin. And apparently this vitriol stems from an incident. I can't even say an incident because it was really just business. The Young King and between Young King and Sean Porter that took place something I want to say over a decade ago, a decade or a little bit above a decade before. Yeah, go check that out. Go check that out if you guys haven't seen that particular interview, right? But according to Bill and Zettel, who were divulging the aspects of this, allegedly it was due to, a sparring session, right? That took place all of this time ago. And in this sparring session, the young King Devin was only about 15 years old at this particular time. But even at 15 years old, he put the beats by motherfucking Dre on Porter. Long story goddamn short, right? So that Sean Porter had, he was called in. He called the young King to come in there and spar with him. I guess they got some work. He was setting up for a fight. Right? Sean Porter at this particular time, I forget who his opponent was at this time, but Zettel mentions who Sean Porter was training to fight at the time, and the young King Devin and Bill were in attendance to that camp, and they, were, I guess, being paid something like maybe $200 or something like that, to help train Sean Porter, right? So that this was an absolute legit. He was in camp, it wasn't much money, of course, but, he's 15, he's training with a world champion, somebody who's highly experienced or whatever. So yes, he's getting in there to get Sean Porter in shape for whatever that particular fight was. Now, put the absolute beats by Dre on that man. I mean, Molly whopped that man all upside his head, according, to Bill and Zettel, who were talking about, he really was working Porter. Okay, so much so, apparently, that motherfucking Bucktooth Porter has been holding a grudge for over a motherfucking decade, ladies and gentlemen, because he got the beats by Dre put on him by a 15-year-old Devin at that time. And this is the basis, according to Zettel, and as acknowledged by Bill, of the energy, of the tension that Sean Porter has, when it comes to Devin. It's because he got mollywopped by the 15-year-old prodigy. And he has been harboring this ill will for Devin ever since, apparently. This is why he is so hastily, so eager, to smite Devin on his platform and whatever platform allows him to do so. This is the basis of it, brothers and sisters. Ain't this the fucking sassiest, salty ass shit you ever heard? You fucking salty bucktooth motherfucker. How the fuck you mad at a fucking 15-year-old child? Yes, he's a prodigy. What the hell do you expect? Okay, he gave you some good work. Take that ass whooping and learn from it. Did you apply it to the motherfucker you wound up getting in the ring with for that fight? Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn? What the hell are you mad at him for? You mad because you got outshined and outclassed by a prodigy. Shouldn't you been, just be happy like, oh shit, that you better than I expected, but salute to this young, he gave me some good work. Where is the maturity, ladies and gentlemen? That you would be so egotistical as to harbor a decade-long grudge against a young up-and-coming fighter at that time? This motherfucker been jealous of Devin for 10 goddamn years, apparently, according to this story. I was amazed listening to these men talk about that. Right? So that instead of saluting the young Devin and Bill Haney for their tremendous work in building up the young King's talent, instead of saluting his dedication and pursuit of greatness at such a young age of 15 years old, instead of looking at that and seeing how he is going to translate that 15-year-old greatness into a grown man one day who would stand to, take the sport over. You refuse to do that. Instead of saluting that, you harbor ill will and resentment so that when he actually attains his own championship within the sport, here you are fucking hating and throwing snide, castigating sentiments around about this man. What the hell? That's crazy work to me. Absolutely crazy work. This man in a pursuit of his own greatness in the very sport that you rose to prominence in. Instead of you fucking, looking at that and saying, wow, this dude, when I'm long retired, this is the man who's going to take the sport over. You sitting back in your fucking sassy ass goddamn emotions hating on the young king? What? Here you are, turning into a complete turncoat in your own right and opting now to detract and sabotage that young man in whatever baseless, ill-founded way that you can because you harbor a jealousy for the young King Devin. What is going on here, ladies and gentlemen? You got bollywopped in sparring. Okay. That's what happens in sparring sometimes. What the hell? I just don't understand that. So that now he is absolutely vehement about detracting from anything, any progress, any means of ascension when it comes to Devin because of his own, baseless immaturity. Because he couldn't handle that there was somebody young. I don't know if it was his age. What the fuck? I don't know. Maybe he was jealous of the father-dad son relationship that rivaled. Maybe he's like, oh, it rivals me and my, whatever. And he's 15 years old doing it. What? I don't know what the fuck was the basis of that. Vitriol and hate. That if that's not the sassiest, most envious, spiteful shit I ever, you know what I'm saying? Porter is an elder to Devin, ladies and gentlemen. You would rather deprecate and disparage this young warrior's journey than sit back and salute and appreciate that a beautiful young brother, your brother, is taking the torch and carrying the sport forward with grace and courage and power? I mean, what a baleful, pernicious, malignant position that you can take as a fellow fighter, especially an elder to him. You should be looking at that youth and saying, wow, yeah, he gave me the business in sparring. He gave me some excellent work. How can I nourish that? Bill, do you need assistance? Can he be in my gym more regularly? I'd like to have him in maybe further camps. You know what I'm saying? Or even, into his adulthood, into his own championship. And his own rise in the sport. How can I look to foster this energy? How can I uphold this young brother? Because he's so marvelous at 15 years old. Look where he is now at 27. How can I foster that? How can I tell the world about this young man who at such a young age, was on an elite level then, so much so that he gave me the business? I mean, shouldn't you be fostering that? This is the person who's going to carry the sport on into tomorrow. This is what I was saying before. Where the fuck are these elders at? These elders are too busy being sassy, turning their nose up at the people who are carrying the bloodline on, who going to carry the legacy on. Who the fuck is supposed to keep it going after your old ass take a seat? You got to pass it over to the youth. You must do that. That is your role. This motherfucker sitting down sassy with his pinkies up, upset that not only the young King Devin has been shining since he was a child for the reason why he has, long been considered a prodigy, but that now, he is in mastery form. And as I said, he is, he stands at the helm of taking the sport over as it makes its transition into what I believe is the Haney era. Where is your salutation and support of this man's journey? Does Sean Porter forget that he wanted to be recognized at a point too? That his pursuit was championship and greatness and development and best fighting the best? Or is he too comfortable now with his podcast life, sitting on his ass and clicking his big ass motherfucking teeth all over the goddamn camera, talking sassy? Is that has he become that, deluded? Did he forget that he was on this path as well? And that it meant something to him as well at one point not too long ago? I don't understand. Vitriol for what? That's the sassiest shit ever. How the fuck you holding a decade-long goddamn grudge against a fucking child at the time? Isn't that not crazy to y'all? That's absolutely diabolical to me, brothers and sisters. So that this stuff is still being expressed now. And now when put into context, when given that particular light by Bill Haney, as he was discussing with Zadell, we now see that there is foundation to that venom. There is reason for it. It's crazy work. It's a very pernicious position that Sean Porter has in the spewing of all of this disinformation and propaganda about Devin. But he is not alone in this, ladies and gentlemen. That noxious sentiment is quite rampant in the sport as a whole, and it seems to be personal on every level, even outside of Sean Porter's personal ties and history with the Haneys, but that the energy seems to be personal wherever it's coming from, right? As it pertains to Devin, people seem to be taking it personally that he is out here carving out his greatness. Why is this being taken personally? And this is by people who, whether you know or have been affiliated with Devin personally, like Sean Porter, or not. Podcasters are taking a personal offense. They are making it personal. We got people out here wishing death on Bill Haney. People with platforms thinking it's cute to say that to their audience. It's a real personal affront, right? Very, very crazy out here, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sure many of you have been peeping. Though this position that Porter has taken is, like I said, a personal one, I would definitely posit once again that such is not unique to Sean Porter, right? All of it seems to be a personal affront to the young King Devin, as taken by a lot of these agents out here. Whether they know Devin personally or not, the position seems to be very, very personal as to why they are lambasting this young king. Okay? It is being made personal. Just listen to some of the things that these people say. It's like, well, did he slap your mama? I was just like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's certainly the case, for example, brothers and sisters, when it comes to Eddie the Scammer Hearn. This is another example, of another proponent of this agenda. Another agent of this chaos is definitely Eddie the Scammer Hearn. The Scammer Hearn has been on an absolute world tour, ladies and gentlemen, since Devin Haney's victory. Y'all see it? He out here trying to do his biggest one, trying to diminish and compromise, Devin's selling power, his attraction factor, all of that. He is doing everything to detract and diminish what he knows to be a bright star in Devin. Ain't that interesting? Right? I mean, just the absolute rampage, ladies and gentlemen. I know you all seen it, going to every goddamn corner of the earth pretty much to spew all types of venom, on Devin's success. He just cannot stand that not only was Devin victorious, right, but that he was emphatically victorious. I mean, Eddie just seems to had been turning over in his bed, waking up in cold sweats about the fact that Devin Haney had such a phenomenal, wonderful performance. Okay? He can't deal with it at all. This nigga, he needs some motherfucking, what's that thing that the people take? Um, I don't know, that anxiety goddamn medication. I don't know what the fuck Eddie is on. This nigga got cold sweats thinking about Devin's success, y'all. It keeps him up at night. That's what it seems to be to me. It's diabolical over here, right? He just cannot take that victory. He and his minion, Connor Wynn, right, are on an absolute world tour. They performing the greatest hater hits out this bitch. I mean, you just cannot get a camera in front of them and then not be on some bullshit type of time whenever, they are speaking about Devin for whatever reason, whether they are asked or not, right? Oh, Devin's style is boring. Oh, he's not going to garner much attention towards his fight. This is Eddie Hearn, y'all. Did y'all hear this? Devin's style is boring. He's not going to garner any attention for his fights outside of Saudi events. This is what Eddie Hearn is out here saying, brothers and sisters. Oh, Devin Haney's only going to be able to get fights with Turkey in Saudi Arabia because he is not a draw. This is the length that's being taken, you guys, by the scammer. The scammer is out here wilding, okay? Oh, he puts me to sleep. He's so boring now. Oh, he's a really good fighter. He's a tremendous fighter, but he's boring, right? And then you got Eddie Hearn's old ugly ass. He don't know whether he want to wear a straight perm, a fade, a finger wave, a pressing curl, or a goddamn, I don't know, afro, right? He over here co-signing the bullshit. It's just diabolical to me, you guys. Connor Wynn? First of all, who the fuck are you? Niggas don't even know or recognize this motherfucking degenerate, right? Outside of his drug cheating scandal. I mean, we only know you because you popped goddamn dirty. You was banned from fighting in your own goddamn country, and you had to crawl your ass over here to the States, to have some type of a fight. That's how we know you, nigga, right? And we also know you from getting mollywopped earlier this year by Conor Benn, just the same way by Eubank, just the same way Eubank's dad mollywopped your goddamn dad. That's how we know you, little nigga. I don't know why this man is walking around pumping up his chest like this. Is diabolical to me. We don't know you or give a damn about you outside of that. We know you for popping goddamn dirty and for your dad getting mollywopped and the generational ass whooping and mollywopping that you got earlier this year by Eubank Jr. That's how we know you. The fuck? That's absolutely strange to me, you guys, that this man is walking around puffing his chest out like this, but he has the backing and the support of his daddy, Eddie Hearn. So I guess that gives him all the, additional ego boost that he needs. It's because he got Eddie, winding up the battery in his back, allegedly. It's diabolical to me. You got your ass handed to you earlier this year, bro. Don't think I forgot just because you skated by off of this victory on a drained Eubank Jr. He had absolute, tumult in making that weight the first time. He still bust your ass. This time, apparently, his body couldn't take it. Okay, you got one on him. Okay, so now y'all 1 for 1. How the fuck you puffing your chest out like he ain't just fuck you up earlier this year? And you got the gall to call somebody boring? So now he thinks he's hot shit because he's 1 of 1 with Eubank. This shit is diabolical, y'all. Fuck out of here. Worthless, smut mouth, bitch ass nigga out here pumping his chest out like he done did something worthwhile. I don't give a damn. If Devin Haney is so boring, why the fuck was this nigga begging for a fight? Why are you begging for a fight with somebody so boring? This nigga is the same person who never fought for a belt in his life. Never. On any level. Never once in his entire career, I'm talking about Conor Benn, has this man ever accomplished or achieved anything. Anything. He never fought for a title, ladies and gentlemen, on any level. He never fought a champion. But you're trying to diminish the king? Hoe ass niggas make me sick, y'all. I'm allergic. I can't take it. And speaking of hoe ass niggas, let's also enter in this equation of detractors. Tim Butter Biscuit Bradley is another one that's been on a hoe ass nigga tour as far as the young King Devin is concerned. Another degenerate. actively working to fulfill and propel that agenda to please his masses, right? Round the clock, these motherfuckers are working. They hoeing from sun up to goddamn sundown out here. Overtime on the hoeing, right? Did you guys hear him state over the past week that, oh, you know, Ryan just seems to have Devin's card. He just has Devin's card, y'all. I think Ryan just got his card. Did y'all hear that shit? This old butter biscuits cooning ass milk dud head ass nigga. Oh, Ryan just got his card. Now you hear? I think Ryan just got his number. This is Sambo Bradley. Okay? But you guys, this is precisely the fantasy that has to be upheld at all costs that we were talking about earlier as I was setting the table. This is the fantasy that they must uphold and satiate at all times. Right? This is what it is for these motherfuckers. This is what they need to uphold. That Devin is beatable. Not only is he beatable, but he was beaten no matter the conditions that surrounded that particular fight last year or 2 years ago. Not 2 years ago, excuse me, because this is 2025. Last April, year and a half, or a little bit over that now, right? This is the inherent, the inherent fetish. This is the obsession. That, by any means and by any measure, Devin must be projected as having been compromised. That is what the agenda must uphold. That's what it's in place to ensure, that they inculcate the public with the imagery of having been compromised. That is the goal, ladies and gentlemen, of these people. That is what the agenda sets in place. There is no never mind to the fact that Riri was juicing to his motherfucking neck in PEDs. That's no goddamn never mind. No never mind about the fact that this coward came in nearly 4 pounds overweight. Doesn't matter. These people will always show favor for anyone who is willing to bring Devin's progress to heel, whether they are media, whether they are fighters, whatever. And whoever is willing to take that journey, walk down and tread down that path of disavowing and discrediting and detracting from that young man, that is what they will support and uphold. That is what they will show favor towards. As long as you are willing to bring that progress to heel, they are on your side. It's been exemplified time and time again, ladies and gentlemen, since the scandal happened. It's been proven, right? And it's even to the extent. It's even to the extent that a racist, drug-cheating pussy can walk away with praise and stardom after committing that act, rather than allowing an upright, elite, Black masculine presence to excel in the sport. They would rather praise a drug-cheating coward, a racist coward, than uphold and celebrate and recognize unabridged the presence and excellence of Black warriorship in boxing. That cannot be bypassed, ladies and gentlemen. That must be fully understood. That is what the agenda stipulates and dictates. Because it is that they aim to subvert at all costs. His progression and his excelling in the sport, that has to be subverted by these people at all costs, according to that particular agenda, right? And this fear that they have of DHP, that position, the fear of the position that Devin holds and what his position means in the sport also must be subverted at all costs and made compromised in whatever way possible. Let me check in with my brothers and sisters before I wanted to proceed into something else that I found to be very interesting as well. I think I got some super chats. I got the King Nata. Thank you again, King Nata, for your support and contribution to the channel. Salute. Oh my goodness, the brother, the King, D2B is in the building. He says, shout out to SugarFreeMars in the chat. Thank you, King, so much for joining. It's good to see you again. I appreciate you for coming through. And salute to the King, Bean Pro, in the building with the love as well. Thank you so much, King. I appreciate you guys for coming through and blessing the channel for sure. And salute to the King, Snoopy, in the building. I see you, King. Salute to my beautiful sis, Tay in the building. I see you. I see you. My number one comrade says, everyone is upset because Devin was beating up grown men as a teenager. I mean, absolutely, right? He beat Sean Porter's ass. He beat goddamn, we got the footage of him beating, a much older Tank Davis. All right, because Devin was maybe that happened a year later after the Sean Porter ass beating. I think Devin was something like 16 years old, 17 when he put the beats on Purple Payne Davis. I mean, he's just going around kicking, grown men's asses. But you want this work? You want somebody to fucking paint your toenails in sparring, or you want somebody to give you the business? If they're an excellent fighter, shouldn't you be sparring with the best, or do you want to spar with a motherfucking kindergartner? Doesn't make sense to me. If I'm a fighter, I want you to, give me that work. You know what I mean? Let me figure it out. Let me go through those challenges so that I could make myself before I get to that battlefield. Don't care how old you are. You want to sharpen steel with steel. But these people are so immature. It's ridiculous, comrade. Absolutely ridiculous. I just don't get it. Let's see what the good family have been talking about. My twin says, facts. Porter was praying for Devin to pull out of the fight. Then he prayed for Devin to get knocked out over jealousy. Yeah, he was projecting. Oh, I don't think, Devin didn't want the first of all, where the fuck did you get that? You just literally pulled that out of your ass or out of your two, big ass buck teeth in the front of your goddamn mouth. He pulled that shit out of somewhere. I don't know where the fuck he get that from. Oh, Devin didn't want the fight. Now you hear? And then he tries to, try to change it up, but without, completely redacting the statement, trying to save face, saying, oh, well, I just meant that he wasn't first on the list. Get your ass the fuck out of here. Go get some braces, because ain't no reason why your fucking whole fucking front top of your goddamn mouth looks like a gaping hole in your face. Go take care of that before you sit up here talking about what Devin Haney is willing to fight or what he's not willing to fight. Go take care of that motherfucking bucktooth ass, look like you just bit on some woodchuck or something. Get your ass the hell out of here, Sean Porter. I'm sick of Sean Porter's ass. How dare you? How dare you? He's doing anything by any means to stifle, or what he thinks will be stifling to Devin Haney's progress by poisoning, his viewership with this nonsense or anybody who is willing to listen. And it's for no reason. Your vitriol is absolutely unwarranted. Absolutely unwarranted. And it's crazy that you would be sassy enough to hold that shit for fucking 10 years or over 10 years. So that now you are still expressing, these little snide ass tendencies because, he gave you some business in sparring. The fuck are we here to do, nigga? You want me to sing you a fucking love song? We ain't fucking sparring. What the hell you expect me to do? I can't stand bitch ass energy. I really just cannot. Let's see what the good people else was talking about. You guys, I just, every time I think about this stuff, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it's not, this is not what the sport. Oh, salute to my big bro, the Druth in the building. Infinite blessings to the Druth. I appreciate you for stopping by, King. It's just, none of this is good. Salute to the great Mike in the building. I see you, great Mike. Infinite blessings to the great Mike in the building. Always happy to see you, King. I hope all is well. It absolutely makes no sense to me, ladies and gentlemen. This is not boxing. You know what I'm saying? This isn't simply you giving a boxing take, your hot take about, what you think the styles will, bring or uncover. In a matchup, I'm saying? You're not saying, okay, skill for skill, let's go ahead and dissect, as meticulously as we can, what we think these particular styles will bring or breed in the ring. And let's discuss those types of. You're not talking about that. You're getting sassy as fuck, and you're trying to cloak it, as a, I don't know, as some type of, analysis, some type of critical analysis. This has nothing to do with that. You salty. You obviously salty. And even before, we were made privy to this information by the conversation between Bill and Zattel and Radio Raccoon, I could feel that vitriol. I could feel the disdain all over everything he said. I did not understand why it was there. I simply just kind of, chopped it up to, okay, this nigga wants a payday. His masters patted him on the head and he's trying to fulfill, whatever loyalty he has to these motherfuckers who don't give a damn about Devin. But, the disdain was there. I could not bypass, like, well, he's really going a little bit too hard. Same thing that I could say about a lot of these people pushing this nonsense, right? So that's why I said it really takes on a personal effect, as exemplified in or proven to be in Sean Porter's case, but that a lot of these people, seem to have. I don't know to what degree it may be personal for anybody else, of course, because we don't know that information. But it definitely seems to be that Sean Porter isn't the only one with a personal vendetta. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's real or not. But that they have made it such is very, very bizarre and interesting to me. That people take personal offense. This exemplification of Devin Haney's supremacy in the sport. People are taking offense to that. Okay? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people that Sean Porter probably, sparred in the past, that he is not out here disavowing and lambasting. He is not out here censuring every sparring partner that ever got into the ring with him. At least we don't see that to be publicly. He's not making his shows dedicated to that, at least. It is simply and only and solely Devin Haney, right? Who is getting this venom. And it's not for no reason. Devin Haney is the king of the sport right now. He's at the helm of the sport. Like I said, he stands to take that torch. And we will transition, more than likely into the Haney era. He will be the conductor of that. You know what I mean? And so this is part and parcel of, the agenda, but the need to stifle that progress, right? It's really insidious, brothers and sisters. Real talk, right? It's diabolical to me when I look at it. And this agenda, like I said, will even go insofar as to coddle and cosset drug cheats in order to see to it that agenda be fulfilled. It really is, a malign energy. And speaking of drug cheating, brothers and sisters, does anybody find it interesting how, I'm not sure if you guys heard this, apparently the WBC's Mauricio Suck It Good, as I call him, right? Mauricio is allegedly opting to increase the allowable levels of asterine that a fighter can have found in their system upon a fight. Have you guys heard this? Have y'all seen this across social media? Now, I'm sure a lot of you, or if not every last one of the brothers and sisters up in here, are aware that Subriel Matias had recently popped dirty for the banned substance of asterine over the past week. Hello? Same banned substance that racist Riri popped for against Dev. Right? His VADA collected samples showed the adverse findings in his system, brothers and sisters. Yet somehow, and for some goddamn reason, it is being entertained, reportedly, that they are going to, give some consideration to raising that allowable limit. And it's of no foul, no harm to the sport of boxing, apparently. Oh, we're just going to raise the limit of a banned substance? What is going on here? What's also interesting, good people, about Subriel's case is that, of course, upon VADA finding his, that he popped dirty, he tested with the New York State Athletic Commission, who also found him dirty, right? Of course, the New York State Athletic Commission being the very athletic commission that caught and penalized Riri for his doping. Okay, right? And penalized him and banned him for the year, and he was subject to pay a fine to them and whatever have you. According to NISAC, if there are any findings above the 0.01 nanogram to milliliter ratio found in your system, that's when it will be deemed abnormal. And apparently, Subriel, what was found in his system, the results showed the amount of 0.85 in his system at the time of his sample collection, right? Which is, below that of, that allowable limit, according to the New York State Athletic Commission, right? Because it is below that particular mark, it is being said now that he may be allowed to continue with that upcoming bout that he had tested positive for, right? And as aforementioned, these reports that the WBC is taking into consideration for whatever reason, the possibility of raising these limits is horrendous. It's a horrendous thought, brothers and sisters, to the sport of boxing. It's horrendous, you guys. Absolutely unacceptable to me in every way. Outrageous and void of respect. It's void of respect or concern for the life of these fighters. What the fuck could be the benefit of raising the level of a banned substance? What the fuck is the benefit of that? Who is the beneficiary of that other than the goddamn drug cheat? Is the motherfucker who's going to be on the receiving end of that possibly fatal outcome the beneficiary? What's really good? What is really good? So that these people are blatantly operating to the benefit of the culprit, of the drug cheat, of the person who is ingesting the banned substance. What is this? What is this? If it's not absolute, blatant, undeniable corruption in this sport. Let's not forget, brothers and sisters, as well. Was it not Subriel Matias who caused the death of a man in a ring some years ago? Let's reawaken our memory, brothers and sisters. Was it not Subriel Matias who killed a man a few years ago? He killed a man, brothers and sisters. Maxim Dadashev. Back in 2019, that is not a long time ago, brothers and sisters. That's not too long ago. That man passed away due to the injuries sustained while fighting. Subriel Matias, brothers and sisters. Let's not overlook that or play blind to that. But unfortunately, that is what the boxing world, who are making these reportings about the findings of Ostarine in that man's system, are attempting to do, because within their articles, there is no mentioning of that poor man, Dadashev, who lost his life, and the family that is grieving him to this day, most likely. There's no mention of Dadashev in those articles that are reporting those findings being found in that man's system. Nobody is talking about Maxim Dadashev. And that he is no longer on this earth. And it begs the question, brothers and sisters, if he has been caught on Ostarine right now, how long has this man been juicing? Let's deal with that. Because I doubt highly that this is his first go at it. Could it be that he was cycling in camp for his fight, leading up to that fight with Dadashev? Highly probable. Highly probable that this man has been doing this and that he was just caught while cycling at this particular moment. If he was being tested, I'm not sure if he had previously been tested with VADA. I'm not sure of that. I did not check into that, but I will. But that he just so happened to be caught now. Was this an ongoing thing throughout his career? Is this something that he was in practice of while in the Dadashev camp leading up to that fight? Probable indeed, brothers and sisters. Highly probable. This is what is at stake, ladies and gentlemen. There is a man who is no longer of this earth by the hands of a man who just fucking popped dirty for a banned substance. Let's not act like this is child's play. Why is the boxing world acting as if that did not happen upon finding out this disgusting, abhorrent news that this man popped dirty? Unacceptable. Now let's add Riri to this context, who, as we know, also popped dirty for Osterine when he was fighting Devin Haney last April. Did anybody think about this? I'm quite curious to know. So I will ask the question. Anybody notice that he has a fight in the works with Mario Barrios after the new year? When is this consideration going to be implemented by Mauricio Suck It Good Suleiman? This raising of the levels, the implementing of the raising of the Osterine levels. When is he trying to put that into effect? If this is really something that they are taking into consideration, how soon is that going to be to, up and running in the sport of boxing? What this man is implementing, good people, is just as it was with, let's say, Canelo Alvarez, right? With the raising of the clenbuterol, right? It's a green light, basically. It's a blind eye towards drug cheating in the sport. That's precisely what it is. I'm going to raise these levels. Levels that should not be in your system anyway, especially something like Osterine that is 1000% synthetic. Osterine is not naturally produced anywhere in nature. 1000% synthetic. It's not something that your body can produce. Why the fuck is there an allowable limit to any degree or capacity? I'm absolutely appalled. And how convenient, brothers and sisters, is it that these conversations are now being had just in time for Riri's return to the ring? Riri, the same Riri that was coddled by the WBC, not penalized for his cheating, not reprimanded in any capacity whatever. How convenient that these types of considerations are being made on the heels of his alleged return to the ring. Good people, should Barrios not be able to get the job done against this chump, this pussy, this coward for any reason whenever that fight is to take place after the new year? It goes without saying that should Ryan win that fight, we already know what time it is as far as Young King. Young King is coming for that ass. Young King wants his get back. Okay, we know that. The Young King is going to be looking to snatch that strap off of Riri because, of course, this is the title is on the line. And Devin is obviously on a mission. So we know what time the Young King is going to be on. However, being made privy to this information, I cannot say that I am too eager for the prospect of that rematch, knowing all that we know, knowing what was allowed to take place in the initial bout between these men. I am reticent about the rematch. I have always been. But I rides with the young king. Wherever young king goes, I'm stepping 10 toes. I'm going to support him. However, I would be remiss to sit here and act like I have no reticence whatsoever about, this particular, thing, especially when I know that all the red carpets possible were laid out for him to get over on his cheating. He became beloved for cheating Devin Haney. He became an untouchable for a period of time, and still, quite frankly, is in a lot of ways. That coward Ryan. I'm not too eager about the prospect of that rematch with not only this proven fucking coward and drug cheat, but a drug cheat who all the stops were pulled for precisely because he cheated Devin. And now we can augment the notion, that it's going to be now possibly permissible to have higher levels of that particular drug that he was found dirty of in your system. It will possibly be made permissible that higher amounts of this stuff. I mean, you just can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely revolting and deleterious on every level. Absolutely deleterious. But you know what? I guess we'll cross that particular bridge when it's time. As far as if that rematch will ever materialize, it is what it is. It remains to be seen. Like I said, we already know young King is, that's somebody that he also wants to scratch off his list as well. Right? I don't know what's in store. Learning the news of the Subriel Matias and the raising of the it's just it's dumbfounding, brothers and sisters. But of course it remains to be seen if this coward Riri would even get past Mario Barrios if they were to fight whenever they're fighting after the new year. We'll see. But that is definitely something that was at the forefront of my mind upon reading the articles and learning of the possibility of this abhorrent act of raising ostarine levels or raising any levels. Like the fact that it's even a conversation is disgusting to me. But on another front, brothers and sisters, before we wrap it up, on another front, Young King is definitely currently on the hunt for the head of championship, right? Now he's becoming a champion. He is looking to unify, brothers and sisters, and he has his sights set on the head of Rolly Romero. That is the next target. That's who he's gunning for. Okay, he is on the hunt, on the prowl for Rolly. I'm sure you guys saw the video that DHP released, right, showing that they are 1,000% in hunt mode for this dude. They want him. They're trying to get him, to fight next. And I think that will be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful bout between Devin and Rolly. Of course, there is a long-standing history between these men. Rolly has been ducking goddamn Devin, I want to say, since something like goddamn, Lord have mercy, how long has that been? I want to say something like somewhere around 2020, something like that, right? The back and forth between them and stuff like that. Rolly talking trash across social media. You know what I'm saying? It's been ongoing, and Rolly has been nowhere to be found. Every time Devin Haney call his ass out, he's on to the next one, right? But then he starts throwing, rocks and hiding his hand and all of this stuff. This has been ongoing for years, you guys. So that now it's a possibility that these men will finally meet, and not only meet, but have a unification battle. I think this stands to be a wonderful, wonderful fight for the welterweight division. Right? This is who DHP wants next. I think it's a fight that will certainly shake up 147. Okay. And to think that barely 3 days after Devin's victory, Young King is already smelling blood in the water, y'all. He is ready to make the kill already, right? Within days of his victory, he is calling for the smoke to unify which is absolutely wonderful. And we really don't see stuff like this throughout boxing. We have to stop acting like this is the norm, because it's not. It's not. We don't have people moving on this type of time. Yeah, we hear people talking, a good bit of it, but not really many people 3 days after their fight are calling for unification with the next champion in their goddamn weight class. Devin is just on a whole nother type of time. I love the fire. I love that hunger, and I would love to see that fight materialize. Unfortunately, there are also circling, narratives being spun that Rolly is trying to back out of this particular fight. He said something about goddamn Jesus Christ on his goddamn did you guys see that on his Twitter? Oh, only Jesus could save me, or I'm protected, or something like that, he said. And everybody in the comment section is just like, are you gonna fight Devin or not? Did you see the video? Are you going to respond to the video that DHP released about calling for you? Did you see that Debo is on his bike, riding and spinning the block, looking for your ass? Like, are you going to make a tweet about that? The fuck is going on? You know what I mean? No mention of that whatsoever. So that he is trying to evade once again. That's what it seems to be. Any problems with Devin Haney. I'm hoping that this man doesn't opt out of this. I don't think there's a better option for him. You know what I'm saying? Rolly Romero has never, unified in his life. Why would you miss the opportunity, not only to become possibly a unified champion, but to do so, with arguably the man who is the face of boxing at the moment, the man who is like, one of the most talked about, fighters in the sport today. Why would you miss an opportunity to create some legacy on this particular type of level? It just would not make sense for him to bypass and skip, past this particular fight with Devin. Nothing else makes sense. He has no fight coming up, I'm saying, that I am aware of, that he mentioned. Of course, Devin just came off of his fight, so that the availabilities are wide open. There's no reason why these men cannot make that fight. But it's looking like, as far as the boxing fans are concerned, a lot of us enthusiasts are looking at Rolly like, what the fuck you gonna do? Like, this man, you know what I mean? He's calling for the smoke. Where you at? Why the fuck are you being, so quiet now? Why are you being, mysterious with your tweets? You talk about every goddamn thing else. I don't give a damn about who's protecting you, or what the hell are you doing? Are you trying to fight Devin or not? So everybody's looking at Rolly, pretty much on the edge of their seats, wondering what it is that he is going to do. I would surmise that, given the longstanding history of evasion and ducking of Devin, right? He talks a lot of shit, right? You could count on Rolly to talk some shit quick, fast, ASAP. Now I'm saying, but to back it up, with somebody that's going to give him that work, I don't see where he's always so quick to do that as far as Devin Haney is concerned, right? He's been seen talking a lot of shit about Devin over the years, but he's never been willing to get in there and let his hands do the talking. So for that reason, I'm liable to believe that he will be looking to opt out in whatever possible way he can, right? If he sees an opportunity elsewhere, he is going to jump headfirst into that if he can, if he's allowed to do that. But hopefully we can be proven wrong as boxing fans, because I think that would be a wonderful fight. And finally to get, a unification, a worthy unification, the first unification since, of course, Boots unified before he left, but that we could be on the path to undisputed again for 147, because we haven't had that, of course, ever since Bud, became undisputed. So it would be great to set upon that path of undisputed again at welterweight, one of the glory divisions in the sport. So I would love to see it. Interesting stuff we got ahead, you guys, but I think that the evading that we see, taking shape with Rolly Romero is also part and parcel of a lot of the fear that Devin Haney holds within the sport. That's another expression of it. It isn't necessarily just with the propaganda, the media, but that the fighters themselves in and around his weight class seem to be avoiding Devin like the plague, right? And we even have people, like I said, the scammer Eddie Hearn, putting out there, the fact that Devin Haney is pretty much relegated to working in Saudi Arabia because he gets like they want to keep him in a corner. They have to corner him as best they can, right? So they will spin the narratives, they will push the agenda, and then the fighters who are maybe available to get it cracking and go to battle with Devin are going to then be coerced into avoiding him. They're going to be coerced into avoiding him. And I think that's something that's at work with Rolly Romero. I mean, aside from his own, level of reticence or reluctance to fight Devin for his own reason, because he know he's going to get that business put on him, right? He know those belts are going home with Devin, right? But I mean, apart from that he is also fulfilling, he is being a stand-in for the agenda in place to relegate Devin to having to stay in one corner, to limit his movements, in other words, if you guys understand what I'm talking about, right? So this is another expression of that fear that I think that, fighters will start taking the notes to shy away from Devin Haney, exchanging with Devin Haney as far as, fighting him. It's a way to blackball, in other words, right? Oh, well, if no fighter wants to fight him, well, he can't move if nobody wants to fight him, right? And we saw that being exemplified with the Hitler situation. He had to go literally through 5 names, brothers and sisters. I mean, that's crazy. These are the very people who in the sport who are saying that they on demon time. These are the very people in the sport that's saying that they want to prove themselves to be the best, like your Shakur Stevensons, like your whoever had yous, are the same people running away from smoke when it comes to their door. What type of smoke are you on if you running away, brothers and sisters? So that these people want to talk a good game, but when they got the best in front of them, they fucking ducking for cover like some bitches. This is all a part of the scheme. This is all expressions of the fear that the boxing world as a whole seems to be expressing, particularly as it concerns Devin Haney. Interesting stuff. And we cannot act as if we are blind to that. We got to see it for what it is, and we got to call it out for what it is, and we have to ensure, that we support, the warriorship where it's being expressed. We can't any longer support the BS, the tabloid, scandalous, worthless, mindsets that these people are trying to parade around as best they can. That's not something that we can get behind. We need to put pressure on these systems, and we need to push back against the systems in place that are looking to detract from the progress of such a phenomenal athlete and competitor as Devin Haney. Because if they are doing it to Devin, they stand to do it to Abdullah and whoever's coming after Abdullah, right? Because like I said, it is the expression of Black elite warriorship in the sport that is ultimately being compromised when they look to sabotage and thwart the progress of Devin Haney. They are looking to sabotage and quell the excellence of Black elite warriorship being expressed as a whole. That's my definite viewpoint on that. And, it's something that we have to be very conscious of, and it's something that we have to never be reticent about calling out for what it is. That's definitely my take on that, brothers and sisters. What y'all think about that? Let me check in with the good family. Okay, I'm not even going to bother with that one. Salute to the King Corbin. He says, and this is why Dana White can come in and take over, because I'd rather have my son who boxes safer with less money than in danger worse than before. For more, should he pursue the pros? Okay. So you'd rather have your son who boxes safer with less money than in danger, be in more danger than previously? Yeah, the whole Dana White situation thing is like kind of up in the air for me. I'm not really quite sure about my position on that gentleman. But his presence definitely brings an interesting dynamic and twist Now, to what degree is it beneficial? I think that remains to be seen, right? I know a lot of people have their feelings and sentiments about him, particularly. Salute to MAGA Cop. Barrios and Ryan signed up for VADA. I don't know what they signed up for because that fight is only just now being officiated, but I guess we'll see. That's a very good question if there will be VADA testing. But that's the thing, you guys. It's like with the raising of these levels, is VADA testing even going to be? Will it even suffice anymore? You know what I'm saying? Because I know VADA doesn't allow any, um, you know, amount of ostarine to be found in one system. But of course, that it varies depending on what state you're fighting in. So the New York State Athletic Commission has their 0.01 whatever, limit or threshold, if you will, and that will vary from another state who may have no particular ban on that substance or any other substance or whatever have you. It definitely varies from state to state, and it really puts into question just the safety as a whole as a sport. Like I said, brothers and sisters, people lose their lives in the sport. It is very commonplace for that to happen. And unfortunately, over the past several, I want to say, let's say 3 years, we have had, 5 years, we have had countless. I don't even remember the number. There have been so many people, men and women, who have passed over the years, brothers and sisters. This is no small thing. These are people's lives that are at stake. Yes, we get our entertainment from it. Yes, these people get, all types of money and recognition from it when they perform at a particular level, right? But people still lose their lives. It does not matter the size of their purse. Your life is on the line. Um, and it is not a game. And the fact that people are, being so listless, somebody like Mauricio Suleiman, who feeds his family and the generations coming after, his lineage right now is going to be eating off of, his position in boxing, his authority in boxing. And he is literally eating off of these people who give and dedicate their lives to this sport. And he is so carelessly, considering the raising of any banned substance. It's just absolutely, I cannot be more repulsed, by things like that. So it's like, okay, VADA testing, okay, but if they are in a state whose athletic commission is allowing for this to happen, and of course, if they have one of the governing bodies, willing to up these levels and make more allowances for these types of things to be had, then what the fuck is really, what is really safe about any of this? It really is just a nasty, vicious, disgusting, corrupted cycle all around and all across the board. The King Stephen says he should be demanding VADA testing, but won't. Who are you talking about? Barrios? Oh, yes, you meant Barrios. Barrios is selling out. He should be demanding. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to expect, brothers and sisters, about, that particular matchup or what the testing is going to entail, or if they'll even be testing. One would assume that it's because, that it's, for a championship fight that, they would, you know, organize, some testing to be done, VADA or whatever have you. But I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm very disheartened by Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC, their position, to even consider raising or making, showing leniency for banned substances to be found, to any degree or measure in somebody's system is just disgusting to me. You know, it's just absolutely disrespectful to Dadashev and to Patrick Day and to, countless other people who have lost their lives, just period in the sport. Whether their opponent was on PEDs or not, you cannot play boxing, as the saying goes, and it's even, more at risk when you got people so carelessly and cowardly running to performance enhancing drugs, to compete. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Let me see. I think I got some more super chats in the building. Salute to everybody who contributed early. I think I shouted you guys out. Yes, we got another super chat from my twin. Salute to my twin, the king, Daryl Anderson. He says, just leaving behind some color for the usual great Sunday cook, always 10 toes with the twin. Infinite blessings to my twin. Gotta love my King Daryl for that wonderful energy and the unyielding, unrelenting support that he shows for the channel. I appreciate you so much, twin. Thank you so much. As always, I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you big. Big love to you, King. Thank you. And oh, blessings to the Queen Mama Love, giving me some extra loving in the super chat today. She says, for the fire Sunday evening cook, standing 10 toes down at all times. You already know, Queen Mama Love. Thank you so much for your support. As always, I appreciate you. Thank you. I think I'm going to end it there. I just wanted to check to see what the good family was talking about. Y'all be having some intense conversations in the chat, and I like to be all up in y'all business. Salute to my comrade. He says, from this hill, I've been calling out Dana, Sean Zattel, Max Kellerman, all of these double-minded, double-tongued, spineless COINTEL agents of the sport of boxing and culture, 1000%. And you have been, comrade, absolutely. You've been 10 toes, on the mission, you know what I mean, and shedding and calling light, to all of the subterfuge, that we see in boxing, all of the disparaging, narratives that these people like your Zattels, like your Kellermans, and all of these people, who push and uphold this agenda at all times, but who try to cloak and disguise their intentions with analysis and with journalism and all of these things that we, suppose that they are, operating in the mode of. But we know what time it is, comrade. You know what I mean? And it's definitely up to the truth tellers, as you say, to call that shit out and, to show solidarity with people like Devin and real sportsmen, real athletes, real passionate warriors in the sport, who are taking this sport seriously and uphold it in the right light. You know what I'm saying? People like Subriel Matias need to be held to the stake. People like that filthy drug cheating Ryan Garcia also need to be held to the stake. People like your goddamn that whole fucking stable of Eddie Reynoso, including Eddie Reynoso himself, need to be held to that goddamn stake. We need to put that pressure on. We need to put that pressure on. We can't recoil from that. You know what I'm saying? So I think I'll end it there, beautiful people. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's discussion. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you guys have a blessed week ahead. All right. I think I will. Oh, hold on. I got to salute my brother Caldwell in the building. He says, I was late, but salute Sugar Free. I am back. And to watch the full live. Yes, definitely check me out. Catch the replay. Hopefully, you agree with many of the points me and the family discussed here today. But thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. Definitely popping in. Infinite love and blessings to my beautiful family, you guys. I will catch y'all on the next one. Infinite blessings to you. Peace.